A Good Divorce, an Amicsble Divorce. Chapter 1. The Good Divorce. The Good Divorce 1. Divorce is good because it means you weren't meant to be together. A divorce is a blessing in disguise, a chance to get closer to who you are. We live in a capitalist world that has brainwashed many of us to think of relationships like investments. We put so much time and effort into them that we think we should hang on long after the thrill is gone because of this past expenditure of energy, but this is really stupid. Past performance is no indicator of future performance. All that matters is today, right here, right now. This is why I'm so pro-divorce, because I know there are millions of unhappy people in marriages that are hanging on both to hope that it will get better and to honor the past, so to speak. They spent 20 years together. It doesn't matter that the love is gone now. What matters is the 20 years. People think it means something they will lose if they divorce. They spent 20 years invested in it, now they can't cut it loose because they think they're losing a big investment. This is crazy logic. My logic is right here, right now. If it's broken, I might try to fix it once or twice, but after that, I'll throw it away and get a new one. Don't ruin your life staying in a dead relationship from some crazy, irrational reason. Don't use religion as an excuse like the old "I got married for life" bit, and don't use the tradition excuse like "my parents were peasant farmers who stayed together through thick and thin." If you're in an unhappy marriage, cut your losses, get out. It'll be great to get rid of that albatross around your neck, this person you feel nothing for anymore. It's better to be free than to be in a bad marriage. Divorce is often caused by only a few things. One is trying way harder than the other such that the balance of equitable sharing tips. One or both of the people are self-sufficient and don't really need love, so once the attraction fades, there's nothing worthwhile left. Ultimately, divorce is good because it leads to the truth. People generally marry way too young for all the wrong reasons, like societal pressures to conform. Then 10 to 20 years later, they realize they don't really like each other all that much. To me, it's part of the journey of life, to find your real self. Young people are too quick to marry without finding themselves first, which is a mistake to begin with, and they marry the first person that smiles at them, which is not the same as developing your soul first, then finding a soulmate. Divorce is for the best, a new beginning, time to find yourself and find your true soulmate. Look at all divorces as positive experiences, that people weren't meant for each other and have to move on. There are too many woe is me books out there dealing with divorce. Get over it. We're all ultimately loners anyway, and there are plenty of nice people out there who will make good lovers. It ain't that big a deal. Divorce means the freedom to live your life and a potential dating pool of several million considering the internet. It's just a temporary problem like every other in life. It ain't like you lost your arm or your ability to see. There's way too much psychobabble going on out there about divorce. If someone leaves you, they weren't a soulmate in the first place, so good riddance. You should be happy because you're getting rid of someone you weren't meant to be with. We're a bunch of winners and fools when it comes to love. We fall into half-assed relationships because we're lonely and insecure, and then when they don't work, we fall to pieces when deep inside, we knew we weren't with the right person all along, but did it because we hoped for love like we hope for the jackpot when spinning a roulette wheel. Slow down, find yourself, develop your own life, then your soulmate will find you when you're ready. True love is having a good time sharing it with somebody, not two half-empty souls coming together because they hope for some kind of magic that ain't there in the first place. In the short run, divorce has been found to be a drag for most people involved, except for the ones that are relieved it's finally over, but some major studies which followed people up to 20 years after divorce found that at least half reported they lived better lives by getting the divorce. It's all a matter of perspective. You can either let it destroy you or move on to create a great life for yourself, either alone or in another relationship. Don't get fat and morbid as you age, as so many people do, then wonder why their spouses leave them at middle age. Take care of yourself as you get older. If you don't, then expect a divorce for how attractive you are to your spouse. Don't whine. Beautify your soul and you can do and get whatever you want and need out of this life. Fully 2/3% of women surveyed 2 years after a divorce said they were happier and had no plans to marry again. So there you have it, take it for what it's worth. Divorced women generally deal with it better than divorced men, partially because most women have outside friends while most men don't. Your best bet is to forget about men for a while and get yourself together. Work on earning a living and bettering yourself by exercising and educating yourself about life. Everything you do will be geared for the common goal of conquering your life and then making yourself available to a worthy man/woman. The good divorce 2. The good divorce is a quick divorce where you settle the details among yourselves and write up the contract, then agree to commit to raising the children as best as you can together in an informal shared custody manner. Divorce is also good because it frees you from a situation that is not right for you. It's good to fill up your hours not only to better yourself but to keep from wallowing in self-pity. Organize your practical affairs. Try to live as simply as possible. Get rid of all material things that are just dead weight and cluttering up your life. You really don't need much. This is the time to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Live on the poor side of town for a while if you have to. Save some money. You're rebuilding yourself. Be happy for your own sake, that of the people around you and your children. Don't expect anything from friends and you will never be disappointed. Learn to be your own rock. Don't play off friends who are still friends with your ex. You can still be friends with them, just don't use them by putting them in between the split with your ex. Ignore the issue altogether when you're with them. Misery doesn't get company. When you cry alone, meaning that friends who aren't miserable and having a good life don't want to hear your sob stories. They listen to you once, then they don't want to hear about it again. They won't come around until you wise up. Try not to burden or bother your parents unless absolutely necessary. They have their own lives. When looking for a new beau, take your time. Don't go on the rebound right away and be cautious about playing the playboy/playgirl role. Just slow down a bit. It's fine to mess around a bit, but sooner or later, you will probably want a true, serious love, not how many different people you can screw. If you love them and leave them, you will soon have a lot of scorned bastards/bitches on your hands hunting you down. If you go on the party/nightclub scene, watch yourself. Watch the drugs and the strangers who might try to lure you somewhere to mug you or rape you. Offer to babysit the children of friends or take your own children out to places. Children can be the bridge to you meeting a new someone. They're an easy icebreaker. Don't go after married people, especially the spouses of friends. If a married person comes onto you, don't be a home wrecker, and remember that most men ultimately will not leave their wives for the other woman. It's a statistical fact. There are plenty of fish in the ocean. You don't need it. You have a choice between divorced folk and bachelors and bachelorettes. Personally, I prefer bachelorettes, people who have never been married, because they're more pure than divorcees and have no baggage. But then again, you might find a divorcee who's learned her lesson and is ready to be desperately faithful to her new beau. It all comes down to individual preferences and what kind of fish you can attract. Widowers could be good for the elderly person because the separation was not by choice, they have no alimony to pay and they're probably very lonely. Make your home/apartment look like a happy place when they come visit you. Don't drink any more than 5 alcoholic, social drinks. It's uncool. Don't sleep with anyone until after several dates so as not to spoil the fantasy element of the event. Don't use sex as a weapon to snag someone. Snag them with your soul. Don't talk about ex-loves. Don't be desperate. Just be nice. Men getting divorced typically will not talk about their problems to other men, so they wind up feeling lonely and isolated. They keep it all in and end up having a hard time of it. If you need help, consider joining a support group or just getting out of the house and going anywhere but a bar. You will be angry because you will be stuck with a lower standard of living. It's just the way the system is. There are organizations out there dedicated to helping men with divorce cases. Contact your local bar association, divorce court, or legal aid for more information. You might find some books about divorce at hashtag 301.428, hashtag 306.70-89, hashtag 306.89 or HQ814 at your library. Job books are at number 331 at the library, money books at number 332, practical, household books at hashtag 640-649 and business books at hashtag 650-659. Friends after divorce. Even though it seems counterintuitive to remain friends after a divorce, if you have kids, it's the best way to go. Some would argue that to be friends is to put forth the false hope to the kids that you might get back together, while others say you're mature adults. Children are fairly hip to what's going on these days because of mass media, so it's a good idea for ex-spouses to remain friends and even do things as an ex-family. One ex-family even spends holidays together on trips and camping excursions. The girlfriend of a guy who spends a lot of time with his ex-family says she is constantly worried that he'll leave her and go back to his original family. It's not a bad idea to continue to stay involved with your ex. Sometimes this is the level of intimacy that works. Living together was too close, but now with space, the relationship runs a lot smoother. Some people continue to live in the same house because of financial limitations. Others stay in the relationship but move it to a different level, like the one case I read of 2 separate houses on one property and the one guy who stayed in his RV while his wife lived in the house, and they occasionally got together here and there. I'm not one to judge. If this is another new definition of the evolving family, so be it. It's good for the kids to see both of their parents and see them together now and then without legal custody papers, just being friends. If the parents are not just playing a manipulation game with each other and sincerely enjoy each other's company, then it's good all around. Amicable divorce/collaborative law. You can choose to divorce amicably as a no-fault divorce, fill out the paperwork and disperse the assets among yourselves, which is the best way to go, often called a summary disposition. You don't need a lawyer, and in many places, don't have to go to court, just file the paperwork. Most areas require that a judge or clerk look over the paperwork to see that it's a fair settlement, and that's it. Even if you go to court, at any time, you can approach the other side and offer a settlement right there and then, which the other can either accept or refuse. Sometimes, in order to keep it simple, the husband might offer a one-time lump sum in order to forget about the hassles of monthly payments for years. It might be worth it for peace of mind. If you're fairly friendly with some disagreements, you could go to divorce mediation, sometimes called collaborative law, where you, the couple and the attorneys, who have been trained in collaborative law, sit down and hammer out an agreement amongst yourselves without going to divorce court. The disadvantages are that one side might try to bully the other side. If it doesn't work, you will probably have to hire new attorneys for the divorce trial. In mediation, the mediator is a neutral third party. In collaborative law, it's just the two sides talking it out with no third party present. Ask your local court if they have collaborative law in divorce proceedings. Mediation and collaborative law are generally agreed to by both sides together. In arbitration, the arbitrator makes the final decision just like a judge does. More specifically, this option to divorce court, the divorce mediation, is less informal than a court where a neutral third party sits down with the former couple and tries to hash out an equitable division of property, custody of children, etc. The mediator could be a lawyer or a professional in the social work/counseling field. In some states where child custody is involved, divorce mediation is mandatory. Sometimes the divorce mediation is just part of the divorce process, where the couple tries to resolve the issues, then goes back to their lawyers and then back to court. However, divorce mediation can be used to reach an agreement which could be accepted directly by the court. It is much cheaper than using lawyers, and lawyers don't particularly like it. Divorce mediation has other critics too. Some women's groups don't like it because they feel that many naive or otherwise abused women may be intimidated by the process and give in too easily. Also, since women are presumably the gentler sex, the general consensus is that they give in more to their ex-husbands just to smooth it all over and get it over with. In some states, Divorce mediators are licensed, so you can go to the licensing board to get a list of them. Some lawyers are divorce mediators. You can look up divorce mediation or mediation in the phone book to find practicing mediators. In some states, divorce mediators do not have to be licensed, so make sure you get the service before you pay out too much money. Finally, for a list of divorce mediators in your area, you could contact the. There is no such thing as an amicable divorce. Divorce court is structured to be adversarial. The judge has to disperse assets. The lawyers on each side want to get the most for their client and themselves. No matter how good the marriage was, the lawyer immediately starts to work on the spouse to be practical and get what they can for themselves, because they say the other side is doing the same thing. If you invest time and effort in a marriage, there has to be an equitable disbursement of assets plus equitable custody of children and pets. It's hard to be fair. Each side has different expectations. It's cool to act like you're not materialistic, but when we are talking about your financial security, a lot of money plus a spouse trying to keep as much he or she can, especially if they cheated and already have a new beau, you deserve a fair settlement. Never agree to anything without your lawyer present. Don't assume your former spouse is still a good person. It's now a fight for money. Be calm. Don't nitpick. Worry about the big assets like the house and car, not household junk. Don't sign anything without understanding it. Don't demand too much. It makes you look greedy. Be reasonable. A lot of husbands readily give up the house. That's a good sign. Don't be ruled by emotions. Be ruled by making a good financial settlement. Tell your lawyer the truth. He or she are already scumbags by virtue of the profession. They won't judge you. They want the best deal for you but do not want to be embarrassed in divorce court by your lies. Don't be emotional in court. The judge is thinking dollars and cents, not who is morally superior. Do some kind of professional records check on your spouse's accounts. If it is a lot of money, hire a private detective to seek out your ex-spouse's assets. The lawyer is not a financial advisor. Read my money book or go to number 332 at the library. Do all required paperwork. Be on time for court and appointments. Don't make ridiculous demands for child support like manicure sessions for the kid. Do your own research on your ex-spouse's assets by looking through his computer and cell phone history if possible. If there was GPS on his cell phone that you had access to, see if he visited any new banks or credit unions. Even when you're married, think about how to be financially independent. Get a skill. Stay away from vengeful, scorned divorced friends. They poison your attitudes even worse than they are now. Be cool. Even if you're angry, society rewards only the people who don't show it. Good divorce websites. DisgruntledHousewives.com, wives talk about their dud husbands. GentleHints.com. 3stepdivorcestore.com. 3stepdivorcestore.com/browse products/the-good-divorce.html. adivorcefast.com. bhg.com/lhj/story.jhtml, The Good Divorce. Booksfree.com/These Van Golden Arule of Good Divorce. businessweek.com/magazine/content/05_44/B3957128.htm, Work together after you divorce. coloradoteam.ation.com/resources/gooddivorce.htm. constancearons.com/thegooddivorce.htm. divorceadvice-center.com/advantages-to-doing-or-own-divorce.html. divorcecycle.com. divorcehelp.com/rr/rr01.html, A Good Divorce is an actively mutual enterprise. divorcezource.com/webcart/gooddivorce.html. ezinarticles.com. free-parenting-tips.net/article/the-myth-of-the-good-1477.html. good-divorce.co.il, gooddivorceebooks.com, hansen-law.com/article4.html, The Good Divorce, kaplan-divorce.com/good_divorce.pdf, mydivorcedocuments.com, Divorce Kit, $25. parentkidsright.com/pt-gooddivorce.html, Amicsble divorce websites, foraccord.com/divorce.html, mediation, 501c3nonprofit.com/divorce.htm, aamlnocal.com/links.htm, alternative divorce, North California, acjnet.org, access to justice and work, afccnet.org, Association of Family and Conciliatory Courts, agvaconsulting.com, Duluth Family Mediation, Minnesota, allah.com/article/family/divorce, allah.com/article/family/divorce/article38.asp, arizona-divorce-law.com, attorneyalternative.org, attorneyalternative.org/divorce.htm, bivmc.com/divorce.shtml, Kingwood, Texas, blanchardlaw.com, Montgomery, Al. blogs.kansascity.com/2006/01/an_amicable_divorce, body-law.com, Illinois, californiadivorce.info, californiadivorceemediationservices.com, cmdronline.com/divorce.htm, divorce mediation, Wellesley, coastalcourtservices.com, Florida, collaborativedivorce.homestead.com/faqs.html, collaborativepractice.com, coloradodivorceemediation.com/mediation, compassionatedivorceemediation.com, 877-666-9601, content.firmsite.findlaw.com/fam-informal.htm, Minneapolis, Minnesota family law attorney, alternative divorce, courts.state.ny.us/litigants/divorce/index.shtml, ctdivorce.com, Connecticut, davidcoltet.com/archive/2006/78, dcsmethpllc.com, divmedgroup.com, Divorce Mediation Group, The Civil Alternative, Springfield and Northampton, divorce.city-lawyer.info/amicable.html, divorce-articles.com/amicable-divorce.shtml, divorceasfriends.com, divorce-attorney-schoolisl.com, divorcebroker.com, divorcehq.com/articles/uglydivorce.html, mediation, an alternative to the ugly divorce, divorceinfo.com, divorce-lawyers-oakbrook.com, Chicago, divorcemediationfl.com, divorcemediationsolutions.com, divorcenet.com/state/california/peeling_the_orange, divorcenet.com/state/new_york/collaborative_law, divorceonline.com, divorcepeacemaker.com, divorceproblems.com, divorceshoppa.com, Portland, or divorcesource.com, divorcesource.com/ca/index.shtml, California, divorcesupport.com/divorce/amicable-divorce-21, duboislaw.net/amicable_divorces.html, Seattle, WA, ehow.com/how_1346449_amicable-divorce.html, elsa.com/archive/category/divorce, equalityinmarriage.org/wdavoid.html, equalityinmarriage.org/wdprep.html, family.findlaw.com/divorce/divorce-process/divorce. fastdivorces.info. fla-legaladvice.com/prdivorce.html, Florida. Galleon.com. GreggyGenheimer.com, Austin, TX. haskmot.com/english.html. HuntsvilleFamilyLaw.com, Huntsville, Al. iaconolaw.com, Westchester County. jacobslaw.com, New Haven, CT. KarenKane.com, Nashville, TN. KesslerMediation.com/overview.shtml, Chicago, Illinois. Divorce mediation. KSL.com/?NID=148 SID=1345583, Utah. Divorce is always bad for kids. Lazardev.com/divorce.htm, divorce negotiations. LebanonFamilyLaw.com/familylaw.shtml. Lifehacker.com/software/DIY. lutzlaw.com/cm/fsdp/practice center/family-law, Seattle, WA. mandelawfirm.com/cm/custom/tos-. marketcenter.findlaw.com/scripts/profiles/139982.html, alternative divorce mediation, see GERD, New Jersey. McNeillawoffice.com, Hillsborough. Mediated-divorce.com. MediaTION.com. MediaTIONdivorce.net. MediaTIONworks.com, Mediation Training Institute. MediatorIndex.com. Michigan-divorce-attorney.com. MickeyFernandez.com, Alternative Mediation Services of Santa Rosa, Sonoma County. MulfordMediation.com, Warrenton, Virginia. NCMC-mediate.org, Northern California. Newsletter.asp, New York Divorce Mediation Attorney. NicholsLaw.com, Texas. NICAR.ca, Network, Interaction for Conflict Resolution Canada. NoCourt.org/principles.htm, Collaborative Law. Nalo.com. NotaIR-ramillar.com/notaR/notaR_info.divorce. NiceDiverseam.ation.com. ajar.com/view_2727.htm. OurDivorceAgreement.com. pacoda.com/secure/data/231/chapter1920/chap19, Pennsylvania. peoplesalternative.com, Alternative Divorce, New York. preciousheart.net/main_archives/divorce_archives. qualitybooks.com, No Fault Divorce Kit. quickdivorces.net. RaleighLawFirm.com. rhrabarlaw.com, Detroit. rjtenant.com, rjtenant.lawoffice.com, San Jose. SchoolISLawFirm.com, Nassau County. ScottThorenSDEinlaw.com, Vancouver, WA. SmartDivorce.com. SmartLegalInfo.com. SBIDR.org, Society of Professionals in Dispute Resolution. SSO-law.com/cm/fsdp/practice-center/family-law. Stoller-law.com, Los Angeles. TampasQ.com, Tampa, FL. TheInvolvedFather.com/arts, Collaborative Family Law. ThemarcaseLawFirm.com. ThePeoplesAlternative.com, New York Divorce. TotalDivorce.com. utexas.edu/features/2006/divorce. ValerieCanous.com, Boca Raton, FL. Walling-berg.com, Minneapolis. washlaw.edu/subject/dispute.resolution.html. wbdlaw.com, Minneapolis, MN. Witten-law.com, Austin, TX. YourFriendlyDivorce.com, New Jersey, New York. Academy of Family Mediators. 4, Militia Drive. Lexington, Massachusetts, 02173. 617-674-2663. Fax, 617-674-2690. 800-292-4236. Mediators.org. Makes referrals to divorce mediators. American Arbitration Association. 335 Madison Avenue. NYC 10017 to 4605. 212-716-5870. Fax, 212-716-5905. 800-778-7879. Fax, 877-INFO AAA. ADR.org. National headquarters of this nonprofit organization with 37 regional offices. Divorce mediators available. Association of Conflict Resolution. 1527 New Hampshire Avenue. NW. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-667-9700. Mediate.com. Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. 6515 Grand Teton Plaza. Number 1210. Madison, Wisconsin 53719. 608-664-3750. AFCCnet.org. Constructive Resolution of Family Disputes. Center for Dispute Settlement. 1666 Connecticut Avenue. NW. Number 501. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-265-9572. Society of Professionals Dispute Resolution. 815 15th Street Northwest. Number 530. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-783-7277. Divorce websites. 3stepdivorcestore.com. divorceaid.co.uk/child. divorcehq.com. divorceinkentucky.com. divorcenet.com. divorcesource.com. divorcesupport.com. memphisdivorce.com. totaldivorce.com.